Good evening from Faith Christian School in Lafayette, Indiana. I'm Timothy King, anchor of ENN Nightly News, and I want to welcome you to the first presidential debate. The participants tonight are Alexis Calleja and Luke Wilson. This debate is sponsored by ENN News. The network drafted tonight's format, and the rules have been agreed to by the campaigns. The 40-minute debate is divided into 4 segments, each 10 minutes long. We'll explore 4 topic areas tonight: educational success, media influence, building up, and the school's direction. At the start of each segment, I will ask the same leadoff question to both candidates, and they will each have up to 2 minutes to respond. From that point until the end of the segment, we'll have an open discussion. The questions are mine and have not been shared with the commission or the campaigns. The audience here in the room has agreed to remain silent so that we can focus on what the candidates are saying. Mr. Wilson, Mr. Calleja, welcome. We look forward to hearing you articulate your policies and your positions, as well as your visions and your values. So, let's begin. We're calling this opening segment Educational Success. Over 1.2 million students drop out of high school annually. As time continues, academic success is becoming more and more difficult to attain. Beginning with you, Mr. Wilson, what would you propose, if anything, to enhance the education experience in this school?
Well, I would say first and foremost that education comes from hard work. I say we incentivize the entire education system. You want an A? You get a chocolate chip cookie for every A. You get a B? You get a Snickers bar. All right? Those are interchangeable. Another thing we could do. You can't really learn unless you're comfortable. You know what I'm saying? I say get rid of the dress code. Kids will have one rule. They must be covering anything that you wouldn't want your mother to see. Other than that, wear whatever you want to school. No cuss words and cover the privates. You know what I mean? Calleja?
Could you repeat the question, please?
Yes. What would you propose, if anything, to enhance the education experience in this school?
I think if we could listen to music during study hall, that would be nice. I think music enhances the ability to study and to, have productive work. I think also chewing gum is a very good way to enhance a work environment. That is it.
Mr. Wilson, do you have a response?
I think music in our study halls can be distracting. I think students should have to earn the right to listen to music in study hall. I think students should be able to be checked what music they're listening to, because they could be listening to music that does not glorify our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. I, myself, have met kids who have listened to music with cuss words in the lyrics. In fact, I too am a victim of having to listen to a song that has a cuss word in it. Thank you.
So my next question would be, are there any current policies that hindered the educational experience?
As of right now in the school, I believe that there are a few. As Mr. Wilson stated, I think the dress code may be a little exaggerated. I believe that you should be able to wear whatever you want, as long as you are covering your no square and your other parts, As far as being comfortable, I think anything is valid. I think hoodies are a great example of this, because hoodies, they say that they don't look decent. They don't look good. I think they do. I think certain hoodies do look good, but that's just my opinion.
Another big hindrance of our learning at Faith Christian School is that in some study halls, we're not allowed to converse with other students in the same classes as us. I think in the real world, you will do a lot of conversing and recognizing that other students or other people in the workforce can actually help you with the knowledge that they've acquired over their years. I think that there should be study halls for people that want to be absolutely quiet, and study halls offered for people who want to work in groups. I think you can learn from other students just as well as you can learn from teachers at the school. Thank you.
How would you propose to split up the two different types of study halls?
So, that must have been the president of Uruguay. All right. Can you repeat the question?
How would you propose to split up the two types of study halls?
So when you sign up for the study hall, there'll be study hall A, which is quiet study hall, and study hall B, which is a speaking group study hall. There will be multiple of each of these. Thank you.
You have 5 seconds remaining.
Thank you.
All right. We move on to our... Thank you. We move on to our second section, and that is social media influence. I'll first ask Mr. Calleja, how do you plan to fight fake news?
I think fighting fake news is simply, just let them talk. I think the people that are trying to tear you down with lies, I've had it happen to me recently, they wanted to lie about me, say that I said hurtful things to people, and that I tried to tear them down in certain ways, but I just let them talk, reveal the truth and just my actions and the way I am. And I think certain people could tell that I was being truthful, that this was just a lie most of the time. I don't know what Mr. Luke would like to say.
Mr. Calleja, it's still on your time.
I see.
What has the media done for you? What is your experience with the media?
Media? I think media has, it's very, very good in the way I use it. I think how it's been used towards me has been very good in certain areas, but it's also been used against me in the past few days, especially Snapchat. Certain people said that I wasn't their friend anymore, but I mean, that doesn't matter here.
How do you think social media can affect the students' viewpoints?
Students' viewpoints? I think it can, drastically change their views because, people can lie and not everybody knows the full story behind the scenes, And I think that's a major problem in media. Yes. Yes, definitely. I am a man of God.
All right. Mr. Wilson,
I would say fake
how do you
news.
plan to fight fake news?
I would say fake news is a real problem that happens throughout our school, throughout the states. I would also say false allegations for fake news have become a very, very common thing. And false allegations are worse than the original false allegations. Recently, I suffered the tragic loss of a friend of mine. He was the fellow team captain on my soccer team. And we were good friends, and then something at our school tore us apart. And I reached out one last time via social media. I said, please, I just want this to be over. Come back, be my friend. I miss you, man. He called me a liar. Sorry. He called me a liar in front of all my friends.
So you'd say you had an overall negative experience with the media?
Negative experience with the media in that sense. Media can be a great thing. Media is created by God, so it can be used in great ways, but sinful nature gets in the way, you know what I mean?
And Mr. Wilson, how do you believe the media has shaped the viewpoints of the students?
I think for the most part, can you restate the question? Is that via this election or via just overall via?
Overall, how has social media shaped the viewpoints?
Well, I think social media.
The audience in the room has agreed to remain silent.
I think I think that social media overall has proven to affect the culture of our school in a bad way more than good. It has made many people. I'm sorry, there's a crazy man in the background. He is flipping me off right now, saying, "Vote Alexis." Stop that, please. And now he's taking off his clothes.
Time has run out.
Okay, let me start over. Anyway, social media is overall bad for our school.
Can we have
Hey, that's 2 minutes.
Can we remove this person from the room, please?
Dylan, how about with that guy?
Folks, I apologize for that. All right. So, with that being said, we will continue with the next session of the debate. Building up. Building up comes directly from the school's theme of this year. Building up not only relates to the school expansion project, but also to the student relationships and spiritual lives. Mr. Wilson, what are your thoughts on the building up process?
I would say to build up, you need to have a firm foundation. So one cannot simply build another person up. It comes from spending time with them, caring about them, loving them, showing that you want to be part of their lives, and having personal interactions with them. Building up is not by, let's give an example of something not building up. Having a close friend or former close friend that worked 8 hours hard on a video. 8 hours. And then as soon as that video is shown in school, they shame that person for their hard work and they tell them that video was terrible. Even if the video was terrible, encourage them for their hard work. Because this school was built on hard work. Thank you.
Okay. What advice would you give to students about building each other up?
I would say you never know what someone else is going through. You never know if someone had a loss of a loved one or their house got torn apart by a tree. So you never know if what you're saying is actually more than just what you're saying. Like, if Mr. Tim King, if I tell you that you're a jerk, I'm not just calling you a jerk once. I'm calling you a jerk that one time, and then all the other times you hear me say that in your head. Every time you think back at that moment, I called you a jerk. So really, if you insult somebody one time, you're insulting them constantly. Thank you.
Mr. Calleja, would you like to respond?
Yes, I think that building up is a very good question, good topic. I believe that let's take a kid with Legos, That kid with Legos takes his time, involves many pieces into into his daily life, building whatever he is building. You see, a kid takes multiple hours out of his multiple days. It may take him a week, it may take him a month, and the end result, the end product is wonderful if he knows what he's doing. Let's also take Jenga for example. Sorry.
Security, can we have that person removed?
Let's do it. Take him out of here.
I apologize again, folks. We're having a disruption.
Just pick him up.
continue your thought.
Sorry. You see, Jenga is a perfect example of this. You see, you build something up, and then, well, I moved on. Please don't interrupt me ever again.
Sorry.
Okay. You see, you build something up, and then you start taking pieces away from it, and what happens? Eventually, it'll tear down. And in life, this means that if you build something up, and then you purposely take the pieces out of someone, they're eventually going to tear down. And I think that is, my view and my examples on this topic of building up.
Mr. Wilson, do you have any final thoughts?
Alexis makes a great point, but we're not talking about Legos or Jenga pieces. We're talking about human beings. I would never venture to say that a human being is only worth as much as a Jenga piece. I would say humans are created in the image of God and deserve to be loved in that way, not loved in the way as a Jenga piece. I step on Jenga pieces on accident and I don't feel bad because they're just things. They're just objects, and I don't want to objectify the people. I want to say treat people like God because they're the creation of God. They're made in the image of God. Thank you.
Okay, some great thoughts from both candidates. Our final segment will be about the school's direction and Faith Christian School's future. Where is Faith Christian School heading? How will the school Candidates, how will the school expansion project change the future of FCS? Mr. Wilson.
Well, you see, with more space equals more people. With more people equals more money. With more money equals more opportunity. The fact is, the bigger our school is, the better chance we have of filling it with more people. Once we get those people, we can play more sports like football and other things we don't have. We can start spreading. We can start getting bigger as a school. We can start winning sports. We could start being amazing in things we aren't that great at right now. And the fact is, when we get bigger as a school, and when we start being heard more like a Harrison or a McCutcheon or the powerhouses of this world, the power nations of this world, we can get to that level by adding on to our school. It's going to cost some money, but it'll work because the fact is, with all this expansion, with more people, we'll get better teams, and with better teams, people will notice us, and we can reach out and spread the love of Christ. Spreading the love of Christ will bring in more Christians. There will be more Christians than the next generation. Years down the road, there'll be more Christians to come to the school. The school will just continue to grow. Well, more money. The school will get bigger. And together, we can spread the love of Christ. Thank you.
How will the school expansion project change FCS?
I think Mr. Wilson has a point. I think with more space comes more opportunity towards the school. You see, I've been here since the third grade, and I think something that Mr. Wilson here forgot is that high school and elementary school are both in the same building, and many times this refrains either the elementary school or maybe the high school from doing certain things. Perhaps I think that as faith continues throughout its course, I think that faith will eventually grow into two different buildings where the elementary will have its own building and high school will have its proper building to where it could prosper even more. Having this said, I think that the division of both is very good and will exponentially increase the amount of students that this school will have. And from an elementary standpoint, I think those kids will be able to prosper. And having a bigger school with bigger opportunities, especially up in high school, I think they won't have that need to leave faith anymore. I think they'll want to stay here and, eventually graduate.
Mr. Calleja, is FCS currently headed in a positive direction?
I believe so. I believe we have the expansion project that's going on, and I think that I've heard, I'm not sure if it's true, but I've heard that many projects are for the future, such as a stadium for the school, for the soccer team, multiple soccer fields, including a football field, which means a football team. So
Time. Mr. Wilson, how would your election improve the direction FCS is headed?
Well, saying that this election has meaning and that I can actually do things after I'm elected, the first thing I would do is to bring, there's a lot of events, great events that happen at Faith Christian School that happen nowhere else. Jogathon, Eagle Fair, Eagle Auction, Crazy Dress Up Week. But here's the thing. We don't have a lot with everyone. We don't have a lot of activities that we join in with the elementary. And we join in with the middle. But the fact is, the middle schoolers and elementary schools look up to us high schoolers. So we need to be present. We need to be there. We need to talk to them. We need to communicate with them. They need to see us as role models. They need to be like us when they grow up. They want to see us as good Christian people, and they want to grow up to be like us. Because the fact is, alone we can go far, but together we can go farther. Thank you.
Mr. Calleja, same question. How would your election improve the direction FCS is headed?
Well, actually, I don't. You see, I think that since this election has no meaning, I don't think I'm going to come out here and just lie to your faces, you know? I think that, all this election is a good grade and bonus points for which either party wins. And that's all it is. That's all it is. And I really don't think I'd be a good president, because there's certain imperfect traits about me that I think that I still need to fix. And being a president, has a lot of responsibility, which I think, I don't think it's the right place for me to be. But here I am, running as president anyway. Thank you.
Mr. Norton. All right. As we approach the end to our debate, we will go through some final thoughts. Mr. Calleja, do you have any final words for your opponent?
Yes, I appreciate your video earlier. I think it had a great message. I think it was very, very well organized, very well produced by your committee. I think it was very enlightening for me to see. And I hope the best for you tomorrow.
Mr. Wilson, likewise, do you have any final words for your opponent?
I would like to say good luck. If you win this election, absolutely nothing will change. Like you said, it doesn't actually have any meaning. I'd also like to say happy birthday to my Uncle Tom. I love you, Uncle T. I would like to say, well, first of all, I gotta say one last thing and then I'll be out of here. And that is that.
Breach of security. Cameras. All right, I apologize again for that, folks. We're having some major security breaches in this debate. All right, well, that's going to do it for us. That concludes our debate for this evening. Now, the decision is up to you. Election day is tomorrow, less than 24 hours away. One thing everyone here can agree on, we hope you go vote. It's one of the honors and obligations of living in this great country. Thank you and good night.